Hey folks, welcome to Happy Allergy Week. I'm your host, Kurt Von Onen, here with Magic Emily Middleton. We'll be here for the next hour or so on the Ask Us Anything call. So, I got allergies pretty bad. Just thought I'd throw that out there. They broke into like 70, 80 degrees here in Kansas. And I helped my wife out with some yard work on Monday, like down in it, like leaves and bags kind of stuff. Oh, I could barely use my eyes on Tuesday. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I am just making it back with my cross-country move and getting all my stuff organized. That's what I'm up to this week.
So, ton of driving this week?
Yep, a lot of driving.
Did you rent a big truck and drive a big truck, or did you do 16 cars in a trailer and a caravan of young people?
No, it was actually just shipping like 4 or 5 packages and then filling my car. So, one load, very claustrophobic adventure, but it is completed. We are here and starting to settle in.
Oh, that's awesome. It's nice when you have a place that you can call home and start to, root down. I know that for me, moving to Kansas and buying a house and setting some roots has actually changed the outlook on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, congrats to you. So let's get on with the purpose of the call. The purpose of the call, folks, is to try and talk about things that are LifterLMS related. So if you have any questions or insights about using LifterLMS, or if you have an integration maybe with LifterLMS that you want to discuss, just use the comment section to go ahead and put a question into the chat. If you don't have any questions, but you come and you're entertained and you hang out, go ahead and put in a comment, like who you are, where you're from, that kind of thing. We always love that. With that, we'll say welcome to Delphine. Delphine comes quite often. Looks like we've got Deborah from Winnipeg, Canada. She's creating an LMS site for several companies. Let's just get right into questions then, right? So how can I let each manager view the progress results of their students as a whole and on a per student basis to see which courses are completed, certificates, etc.? I think one of the first things to really nail down there, Deborah, is what roles do you want to assign different people within the system? And I want to give a shout out to Kate from Toronto, Canada. Canada is a very popular place. You would think that Lifter was from Toronto or something. We get a lot of Canadians. There's a resource on the LifterLMS website. If you go to LifterLMS and add the search bar at the top, that goes to our knowledge base, which is kind of like Google infused. I mean, it's really searches well, and we've got a ton of content. But if you put in roles and capabilities there, it's going to give you a list of the standard roles and the permissions that each of those roles have within LifterLMS. So when I see each manager view progress and results of their students, I almost think of that as like the instructor role. And then the instructor role would be able to, through reporting, see the progress of any of their students by course and also by student basis. So you'd basically be giving the manager the ability to view the students that they're assigned, and you're not giving them permission to add and delete courses. It's not like they have admin rights to go through the site and make big changes. They don't get they're not able to change plugins and things like that. So that's one of the things you can do, is align your workforce with the appropriate roles that are pre-built into the website. And then in broader use case terms, a lot of people don't like the roles. I don't want to call a manager an instructor. They get confused or whatever. You can add, custom roles to a WordPress website, and you can emulate or copy the permissions over from another role. So if you're like, hey, I just really want to call them shift manager, you can call them a shift manager. You can make a shift manager role, and then you can copy those permissions over from instructor. Emily, what are your thoughts there? Did I completely miss the mark, or am I in the right path?
No, I think that's the right path. I do like the groups plugin instance for that kind of thing too. Making it simple for managers to view student progress data on the front end. But yeah, there is the instructor capability too. I find a lot of people
even get into groups, right? Because groups you could do that too.
Yeah, that's what I do like groups as a consideration there for sure. It's got a lot of versatile features for allowing people to view courses completed and things like that from their students without having full backend access to instructors to modify the course. Instructors usually can make edits to a course. They can change things like the pricing on the course. And so unless you're going to customize that experience a lot, I might recommend groups.
Nice. Grant is with us as well. Looks like Grant joined and Wenzel is with us. So Deborah says, thanks a lot. Can a person have multiple roles? Standard in WordPress, I think you can only have one role at a time, but I have lots of client websites where they actually use a plugin to have additional roles per person. Messing around with the roles, to me, it gets sloppy over time. Correct me if I'm wrong, Emily, but I think if you start messing around with the roles too much, or if you get over customized on the roles, you can create confusion for the people that are actually supposed to be getting a clearer path.
Yeah, it that's a tricky situation to get into. I would only recommend doing it if you're like super intentional about what's going on, if you're working with a developer, because that can be a little messy.
All right, and I wonder if it's the same. It is the same, Deborah. I've got a, this is from Deborah. We have the ability, if people follow the email notifications, they can sign in early and ask questions ahead of time. And we had a question from Deborah come in. It says, followed the instructions for, let's get down to it. I'll put it up on screen here, make sure I can find one that plays the whole thing. That is not the one I was looking for. Hey, this is great. We're actually getting people coming in and leaving comments, which is great. I'm just getting lost in the comments. So it's my fault, not your fault. It says from Deborah, followed instructions for setting up menu, made one, but do not have template parts under editor and have no way of addressing headers or any specific area on templates. So Deborah, since you're live with us, I'm curious, what theme are you in? Are you, because you're referring to like template parts as like a full site editing kind of term, but I'm wondering if you're in a Gutenberg editor. Let's see if she responds. Because template parts would be in the full site editor, and then that's where we would go into header, and that's where we would go into menu and all of those things like what we did in SkyPilot. She says SkyPilot and newest version WP. Is that something we can take a quick look at, Emily?
Sure. Let's see. So I jump in on my screen. This is it sharing? No, it's doing all. That's not what it's supposed to do. Allow window. The Firefox screen share interface is a little bit janky, but that's okay. So jumping into a demo site here, we are. I see a bunch of comments from TH in YouTube that I'm a little confused about, but yeah. But one, do not have template parts under the editor and have no way of addressing headers in a specific area of the template. So when you're modifying your headers with SkyPilot, and I learned how to do this with Cadence recently too, so you can use the Cadence product in order to do your headers and footers and template parts and everything. But The backend did change after a lot of our tutorials had been made about SkyPilot. It looks different now. They renamed the interfaces a little bit, and that can make things confusing. I think I might have said that in the video of like, hey, they changed this a lot, so it might look a little bit different. Conceptually, we're going to be looking for patterns now. Instead of template parts, we're looking for patterns. And within our patterns, we have our header patterns and we have our footer patterns. But you don't necessarily need to come into this interface in order to edit your header and footer. So you can if you want to. So if you go here to patterns, header, edit your header, you'll be able to see the block here. But we could also more easily, this is what I do on my sites, is I'll be on maybe the home page, something that uses the header, I'll click edit site at the top, and this will take a shortcut right into editing the template that I'm looking at. In this case, it's the front page template. So we can see we have our header and footer that load. If I open this little navigator at the top, the document overview, I always recommend using this. The header and footer can be modified right here. So you don't even need to go into the editor patterns header section. You can simply edit any pattern or any template that is using that header or footer item and then edit it right here. As far as editing something like a menu, we would look at this row that my navigation is embedded. Navigations do have to be built in the block editor in this way. It's a little bit annoying because I'm used to that older interface where it's appearance menus, where we edit things and then it will appear in certain places, but nowadays it is all under the area here when you're looking at a specific navigation. If I wanted to add a menu item, we can see over on the right hand side, I need to have my settings open when I'm modifying the navigation block, and then I can go to my navigation block, add an item. It could be a custom link, and within that custom link we may put the it said lead magnet opt-in page. Let's do that one. So instead of lead magnet opt-in, get our free resource. Save that, and that'll appear on my top line menu. So hopefully that gives some context about how to edit menus and your headers within SkyPilot. But if there's any follow-up questions, I'm happy to talk.
I think the big change there is when WordPress did that update and changed it from template parts to patterns. It kind of threw people off. Delphine, friend of the call, comes here all the time. Has got a question for us. So from British Columbia, all those bears and wolves. I don't know how people live there like that. Anyway, I have questions about vouchers. Is it possible to search by voucher code in the user section of LifterLMS? And if not, it would be very helpful if I could do so. I think the vouchers are searchable in the voucher orders menu, but not in the users menu, correct?
Right. You can't like go to the user menu and search who used what voucher. Unfortunately, that's not stored in that user data area. That would be some custom code potentially to put something like that together, or potentially like a CRM that tracks what voucher had been used on sign up, and then you can use your CRM to filter by contact if CRM is a custom field, or if voucher is a custom field within your CRM, something like that.
I was just thinking, I think Fluent CRM would allow for you to do that, right? Because it's in the site, it has access to the data, it syncs with LifterLMS, and so you would be able to set your Fluent CRM to perform that kind of function, but it's not connected to the user menu in WordPress. All right, Deborah, we already hit that one. Okay, and then Kate is in Toronto, and then Grant is apparently making his own LMS. Maybe, I don't know. It says Rachel. So signed in as Grant. It's really Rachel. Here from Cybermetrics. We're a software developer working on developing an LMS for our customers to learn how to use our calibration management software. Awesome. If you are using LifterLMS and you're looking at using calibration type equipment, I'll tell you that a blended learning example of using Lifter LMS and putting the theory into an evergreen style course, and then maybe having a 1 day or a 2 day practicum for hands-on confirmation that people understand how to use a piece of equipment, is a great way for a corporation to save money. When I worked with Ducati, for example, we were able to train twice as many technicians for half of the budget. So when you do the math on that, that's a pretty incredible difference between leveraging a learning management system and not leveraging a management learning system. So I read it like you're building your own, but if you're using Lifter, either way, if you have an LMS and you can migrate to more of a hybrid example of training, I think that that is a fantastic inspirational thing. So we've got that says, thanks for that. Can you have multiple roles? We answered that one all. Why is that was weird. Am I here? Do you see me?
Yes, I can.
You don't see me at all, do you?
I do.
Okay. My screen just went flip, 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 flip. It was bizarre. Hi, Wenzel from New Zealand. There is a hilarious YouTube video about a guy building a deck from New Zealand. Anyway, I digress. I have my own continued professional development website. It looks like certificates are not aligned to people who have completed the course. Any setting recommendations? I think I'm going to read this the way I just read this from one of my own clients last week. Instead of using like first name, last name for the merge codes in Lifter LMS, they were using the LMS user account. And so they were getting different things for the person completing the certificate. So Emily, if we could we jump into a kind of like an editing a certificate and show where those Lifter LMS merge codes are?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, window, this window. So jumping back into the demo site, there are a few options for merge codes when you're doing certificates. With Lifter LMS, you have engagements. Certificates is where we will put together all of our certificate templates. When we add a new one, then we would say, and we'll give it a title, user display name. So we can see there's two different types of codes on this page. There's one that's surrounded with a bracket like this, and there's one that's surrounded with this little curly bracket. You can see earned date has that little fancy bracket, and this one has a regular bracket. There are two different types of merge codes, both of which can be used on certificates. One of them is what we would call a merge code in Lifter LMS. One of them is a short code. Why the Lifter LMS logo is bigger on this one and smaller on this one, I don't know. But merge codes have been in Lifter LMS for probably since the beginning, or very near the beginning. So these are available for certificates specifically. These items can only be used on certificates. It gives you student's name, it gives you earned date of certificate, it gives you items that you might want to put on the certificate, such as the sequential certificate ID, which would be like a
certificate
number.
1.
Yeah, certificate 1 and certificate 2. It would be a unique number for that certificate. I actually did some custom code for a client a while back that validated certificates. So what would happen is people would enter the name of the student into a form, and they would enter the certificate number, and the site would validate if that certificate did or did not exist. And so those are the merge codes. And then we have the short codes, which operate very similarly, but these are much newer to Lifter LMS. These came out only about 2 years ago. And they allow you to do almost the same thing, but it's much more extendable. So we have address and first name. So a lot of people say hi, first name, and they'll put that in the menu of their website. So the website kind of welcomes the student. These merge codes are kind of boring, but if you're using Lifter LMS custom fields, you can actually add more short codes to this page right here. So if you're collecting company name or you're collecting license number, a lot of times for continuing education, it's necessary to collect the license number for the user who is signing up for your program because their license number will need to be printed on their certificate. I work with like a lot of notary websites and continuing education for doctors, and they have a need to have that license number added. And so if you were to add that on sign up, that custom field, it would appear here right below phone number. It would say license number, and you could add that right to your certificate. So that's merge codes and short codes within certificates. As far as making sure your certificates are presenting to students, you do need to go to, once you're completed here, once you've been happy with what you've put together, we'll go to engagements, add new, and this is where we will select a trigger. So we'll say complete course X certificate. So when the student completes a course, select which course. I didn't save any of my progress, but we'll just say when you complete business budgeting, award a certificate, and we'll select which certificate. So we would align the certificate we created with the course we created and make sure that when a student completes a course, they'll earn that certificate. That may also be the problem.
Yeah, and then the one thing with certificates that I always stress with people is right when you think you have it edited perfect in the edit screen, just click the button so you can see it on the front end to make sure things are aligned the way that you think they are. You might want to adjust a spacer up or down a little bit or something just to move some text up or down to meet, another line or something you might have in your background image. But once you get it the way that you want it on the front end, even if it looks out of alignment in the back end in the edit screen, don't worry about that. Save it and then go ahead and use that version. Now, this is interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. We say ask us anything, and then sometimes folks like TH might jump in from whatever channel. I think you said from YouTube, and you're going to see there's a ton of stuff in here. We've got some kind of error messaging that's coming through on TH's website. There's a couple of things that really pop out. Now, this isn't something that I would expect everyone to see or to know or to just, but there's a couple of things that instantly pop out that I see. And one is this action scheduler. Action scheduler, actions, where, blah, blah, blah. If you're getting error codes that are talking about an action scheduler, or if you're getting error codes like API hooks and stuff like that, one thing I can tell you is you should probably be filling out a support ticket. So a support ticket you can do through LifterLMS.com. If you're one of our paying customers, you just say submit a support ticket. And when you submit a support ticket, it's going to ask you for a copy of the system report. That system report tells the people that are helping you what's in the website, like where is it hosted, what plugins are on, what's integrated with the product, and everything's there. So it gives people a more complete picture. God bless you. Gives people a more complete picture of how to help you. But I will tell you, in looking at some of the errors that you've copied and pasted in here, TH, you probably most certainly would benefit from having an external cron job. I don't know if it's the hosting that you've chosen or if it's just the fact that WordPress's cron isn't very effective. But if you went to like cronjob.org, got an external cron job, which is free, doesn't cost you anything, and you connect that to your website, you're going to see things like Action Scheduler and API calls and things like that work on time rather than be delayed. And that could be part of your problem. If you're talking about a slow load times almost always guide me towards a hosting choice. But if you've got problems with like automations that aren't firing off when they're supposed to and it's clogging up your system, an external cron job is going to help that and get you going there. And then that's really about all I got there. I mean, that's the only advice I can give without having any other information, like access to a website, access to a system report, knowing what's actually in play there. But let's jump on to Carrie. Carrie's got a question for us. Carrie says she wants to offer some modules of her full Evergreen course as separate mini courses, but I want to credit those courses toward the full course if they had already paid for it. Do you have a plugin that keeps track of individual course payments that credit them automatically? Long answer short, no. Yeah, no. I can't think of anything that you would do. What you could possibly do is you could say, so let's say that I have a course that's $100, and then I have two sub courses that are $50 each. And if they take one of the sub courses, they get a 50. I want to credit that $50 towards the purchase of the $100 course. What you could do is in that course page, you could have an upsell coupon in place that's only available to enrolled users that would say, as you've enrolled in this course, we will credit you $50 towards the purchase of the upgraded course if you choose to do so by using this coupon code. Like that's one way, like, upsell marketing way to make that funnel kind of happen for you. But to automatically track somebody's purchases and then take a percentage or the full amount of those purchases and credit them towards another product. I don't know of, I'm trying to think in the WooCommerce space, in the SureCart space, and certainly in the LifterLMS native payment gateway, it doesn't exist. But even, I'm trying to think about all of the add-ons that I've done with clients in the WooCommerce space. I don't know if that's a thing. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
There might be like a Barnes 2 plugin or something that does something like that. Something, an add-on to WooCommerce. But I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, so this is like selling some modules from the Evergreen mini course and then credit those towards the course if they've already paid for it. Yeah, I might recommend really complicated setup. I like this setup though. For something, this is like a really LMS access plans only apply to a course, so you can't do like selling individual modules. But what you could do as a setup to sell individual modules would be to have a separate e-commerce system control that access. I used to be a lot, and so instead of LifterLMS's access plan system, you could mark all of your lessons as freely available in Fusion or a similar tool to lock down your lessons. So the lessons are only available if you have access to a certain tag, and then you can sell WooCommerce those tags. You buy a product, you get a tag. If you have the tag, you can view the lesson. It's almost like there's a ticket to view the lesson. You could buy the all access that gives you all of them, or you could buy the individual lessons. I've seen that done for a few courses and it works pretty well. It's just you're getting into more advanced territory. You could also do course tracks. If you just want to stick with the LMS out of the box, put all your courses in a course track, sell all of them in a membership, and when they complete the course track, they earn a certificate. But they could enroll individually in the courses as well if they wanted to just get one course and then eventually credit all of that towards their completion.
That's a cool way too. I got good news. A success story.
Success story.
TH replied and said, "Thank you so much. I just heard back from support. They just emailed me back a few minutes ago." It's nice. It's nice when things work. It's nice when everything comes together and it makes it look like we're not crazy. Are you feeling kind of crazy?
It's like Alice in Wonderland. It's been that way for years.
So we got another question from Felicia. Felicia is using Astra Pro. Kudos to you, Felicia. I like Astra. And I want to change the look of the Mark Complete button on the lesson pages. Is there a way to do so without using CSS? Where exactly do I go? This is going to be a quick tutorial on LifterLMS Labs, I believe. Right? We would change our primary color, or we would change our font or whatever in LifterLMS Labs.
Yeah.
But that, I don't think there's a global setting in Astra Pro to change, because it's the dynamic button that comes over from Lifter.
Yeah, let's see. Every theme's a little bit different, and I think that maybe Astra uses the link color as the logo for the or as the color for the Mark Complete button. But let's give it a try. So Astra. go to my course. This course. This page. Okay. So we're in our course. We jump. Let's see. So here's Mark Complete. I'm pretty sure this is a link color, but let's give it a try with LifterLMS Labs. That might just do it. LifterLMS Labs is a free plugin. You can find it on the WordPress repository. If you go to plugins, add new, and then you look up LifterLMS Labs.
No space in LifterLMS, or else it doesn't come up.
True. LifterLMS Labs, once that's installed on your website, you go to LifterLMS Labs on this left-hand sidebar, and then it's the simple branding lab. So let's enable that one and see if we can swap it out. The problem with Astra is I think Astra injects the link color right there. So I don't know if changing these does anything, but for Astra specifically, but I could show you how to do it. It has to be CSS. Okay, let's see. Because I don't think this one works with Astra. Let's try it. It does. Okay, very cool. So it does. Primary color. You were right, Kurt. Raise the roof.
Raise the roof. I use Astra quite a bit.
Yes.
You know, and then sometimes people get into like fonts and bevels and drop shadows and you know, that stuff you can jump into with CSS, but very specifically Felicia was like, I don't want to use CSS. So sometimes it is, you know, just changing the color of it to match your branding or whatever it is that you're doing. So Felicia, I hope that helps. If you need to go further, I think you would be looking at maybe doing some CSS, but it's not that difficult. And we've got some resource that we can point you to help you with that as well. We've got a question from Kate, and it's fairly long. So I'm going to put it up this way, and then I may break it up into chunks or something like that too. It says, we're a franchisor looking to bring our new franchisee training onto our website. Learners will be only our internal staff and franchisees, so no outside sales. Boom. That is the model that I got to put my head up here to be over the words. That's the model that I had when I first got started with LifterLMS. It says, we are looking for a members only kind of experience and came across LifterLMS in that search. So here are the important questions. What effect does adding LifterLMS as a website plugin have on load time for our website, presuming that there's lots of video content included in our courses? And if we use the website plugin, how does a registered, where does it go? I got to find the rest of it. Registered users kind of, is that what it is? Registered kind of experience came across I can't, I'm lost. I can't find out where the rest of where it went. Video content included in our courses. If we use the website plugin, how does a registered user access LifterLMS? Can you walk me through what it looks like and how to set it up? First things first. One, I forgot your name. So it's Kate. Kate, there's no problem with adding, if you have a WordPress website and you want to add LifterLMS to that WordPress website, there's no problem with doing that. I have no idea what is done to your website. So it might be advantageous to have a staging example of that website created, and then in staging, add LifterLMS. So what that means in layman terms is you have a website and you're going to make an exact copy of that website in your server, and then you're going to play in that exact copy of your website first. So you'll add LifterLMS and you'll see if there's any conflicts or anything weird with anything else that you have done in this website. If you have a custom coded website, there may be some odd things. And so work in staging first, install the plugin, make sure that there's no conflicts or errors or weird things. And then the second part of your question was, what if we have a lot of video? Well, the good news is this: if you're in WordPress, you're not hosting all that video on your website, or at least you shouldn't be. We have a resource at lifterlms.com in the little search box. If you type in hosting video, it'll just give you ideas on where to host video. So a lot of our tools are made if your video is hosted on YouTube, Wistia, or Vimeo. Those are three very popular places to host video. So a lot of our tools work directly with those three. However, you can embed video from any video hosting source. I personally use one called Adillo. I have a lot of clients on bunny.net. And interestingly enough, if I have bunny.net and a tool called Presto Player, I can get a lot of the benefits that our advanced videos do in LifterLMS using bunny.net and not having to be on Wistia or Vimeo. So there are a lot of ways to host video, but the short, simple answer is it's not really going to affect your page speed much with all that video, because the video is only embedded and it's being hosted and served from a third-party site. So there's not the amount of video isn't really the concern. When you look at it as being like an internal training site, when you have your website, you're going to want to link somewhere on that website that allows your internal users to get to that LMS, to get to those pages for learning. And so we have a dynamic menu option that's log in and log out. Those are LifterLMS optional menu items. And if you activate those and put those in your upper menu, if someone is already logged in, it's going to say sign out. And if somebody is already signed out, it's going to say sign in. I mean, it's just that simple, just a dynamic menu piece. You could put that in your footer. You could put it in your header. You could have a hidden link that you send to your people to say, hey, go to this link for training, because maybe you don't want the training linked at all to your homepage, to your marketing page. But from a corporate standpoint, all of this is done or is attainable on the free core plugin from LifterLMS. We're a freemium example in the WordPress space, and everything that you asked about is completely doable on the free LifterLMS core plugin. Do you have anything to add for Kate?
No, I think that's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, it's there's one that's interesting in here, and I'm going to throw it up just for giggles. And I got it, I'm actually going to give him a pat on the back because, at least he's got the confidence to ask. First, Ayomidi, I don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry. Says, I'm a LifterLMS expert. For those of you that don't know, we do have an experts page. It's lifterlms.com/experts. I think we even have a banner for it somewhere. Maybe I can find that and put that up on the screen. So we give these talks every week, and we try to help people, gain some confidence and feel that, hey, you could do this. You could really do this. But the truth of the matter is a lot of people don't want to be webmasters for a living. They want to focus on what they do for a living. And so maybe you want to hire somebody. If you're looking to hire somebody, you can go to lifterlms.com/experts, and you can find people like myself, like Emily, like Ayomidi, and find people that can help you do projects. Whoever is listed on that page, not the person on social media that says, hey, I'm an expert, but whoever is actually listed on the experts page is a vetted expert from the LifterLMS team and somebody that we feel with confidence you could reach out to and get some help on your project. And so super, super important. If you want to farm out some LifterLMS work, the best thing to do is jump to that experts page. There is one, Codable is one that is just, it's a design house that's full of folks. Yeah, just hundreds of people that can bid on a simple task and execute something for you pretty quickly. And then there's people like Emily that'll jump on a Zoom call with you and walk you through things and give you tutorials along the way. And then there's people like Mañana No Mas, like my company, where we do full agency level size projects from soup to nuts. And so jump into the experts link, find someone there that matches your needs, and then you are good to go. Oh, Kate said, great to know. I'll check out Dillo. It's Dillo. I should, you know what? I should probably join an affiliate for these stupid people. I recommend them all the time. But Adillo is this way, ADILO. So adillo.com. And periodically, they will have a lifetime unlimited video hosting deal through what is that, AppSumo, I think it is. And I'm a sucker for a lifetime deal, so I bought the lifetime deal, and I've used it. Sometimes there's some glitches here or there, but you know what? It's a really good service. And when I say glitches, I mean like in the upload process. Once it's uploaded to their platform and it's processed, I haven't had any problems with that. Rachel came back and said that they are using Lifter. Those are the folks that are creating their own LMS. So that work looks good. Kate had a question. She said, can you show an example of what the LifterLMS plugin might look like from a learner point of view? That's a hard one. Because it's just a website. Like I hate to be like so frank about it. In LifterLMS, when you are building the website in LifterLMS and you have access to like the course builder and the lesson editor and all of those things, when you look at the website, when you go to see a page, you'll see it as an administrator does. And the content that you create is dynamic. So it's meant to be shown to certain people based on their enrollment status. So what's really interesting about LifterLMS when you're signed in as the administrator is at the top right-hand side of the screen, there's going to be an option. It's going to say view as myself, view as a visitor, or view as a student. And whatever you select will generate that dynamic content so that you see it properly in the screen there. If I want to see the website the way a student sees the website, though, I will typically go to an incognito tab and sign into the, not sign in, but go to the website and then log in as a student and proceed in the incognito tab fully away from the instance that I'm working in. Let's see, where else are we at? I got to make sure I didn't skip over any of these. How are we looking, Emily? Did I miss any?
No, the chat's pretty full today. We have thanks y'all.
That is full. There's a lot going on. It's cool. It's because Kate's new. Wenzel's been here before, I think. And then, let's see, down at the bottom. Kate says Sumoling here. Sumoling here. AppSumo. So Sumoling, yes. If you can do the if they still have that lifetime deal, that is a go-getter. That is a go-getter. If I go back to our pre-submitted questions, we've got one that comes up, and I'm not even sure. It's such a common question, but it's such a subjective question. It's like almost not fair. And I see this one all the time. Tell me, Emily, if you haven't seen this question 10 times in the last 6 months. What is the best way to build the course page into a very nice looking landing page?
Yeah, we can absolutely talk about that. That's kind of what we talked about last week, with turning your course page into a landing page, or figuring out if you're going to go with a sales page, or whether you're modifying your course page and using that as the sales page. And we have different recommendations depending on what you're using. Like we say, a lot comes down to use case. If you have a lot of courses, it's usually economical for the user experience to have the course pages themselves be your sales page. So people can see an outline of the content, they can see a description of the course, maybe an intro video, and they can see the pricing. But if your whole website only sells 1 to 3 courses, you might as well turn the home page into a sales page, have like a sales funnel going on, and really get people linked up with a specific program that you're offering. So a couple ways to go about it, but Lifter can accommodate all of them. It's just a question of what way do you want to go with it.
Well, and the one tool, so I see very nice, right? Very nice landing page. I think a lot of people have an idea. They have an idea of what they want to communicate. They have an idea of what they want it to be, but they struggle with the implementation, the actualization of making something that looks decent. And so that's where tools like Aircraft really come in handy in the LifterLMS world. Because if you have access to Aircraft, which is one of our premium add-ons, it adds patterns to your editor that enables you to just be able to plunk in whole sections of a page. So you can have a services section, you can have a hero section, you can have a, like this is the team, like the team introduction section, testimonials. And so a lot of people know they want testimonials, or they know they need a hero section, or they know they need a services section. But then they struggle with, okay, so I make a container, I put in 4 blocks. In those 4 blocks, I want to be spaced this much. And each block is going to need a header and some text and a button and a call to action and a link and a graded field and all these things. And if you go to Aircraft, you literally are like, I like these patterns. Click, boom, click, boom, and your page is done. And it's very consistent, which is one of the things I like about using those pre-built patterns.
Yeah.
So when someone says, what's the best way to build the course page into a very nice landing page? I'm like, man, just drag over those patterns from Aircraft and put in the sections you want. And those different containers can be marked as display to enrolled users, display to unenrolled users, and get some more freedom over what is displayed to each person when they see that particular page.
Yeah.
Bada boom, bada bing. We had a lot of people put in questions ahead of time too, so I'm going to check that one off. That one's good. Memberships or 3-year subscriptions. Franchisor. I think we are caught up there. Folks, it looks like we've got some time. If you are still here, and it looks like there's a ton of people still here, if you haven't already, let us know who you are and where you're from. But put your questions into the chat for us so we got something we can do with you. Now, something I missed. I didn't do my job very well this morning. Get your 55% off coupon at lifterlms.com/AMA-gift /AMA-gift. Dude, are you losing patience today? The weather's nice and my dog is losing patience today. He wants to go outside. He keeps coming to the doorway and just looking at me, wagging his tail. Let me see.
Yes.
What are you doing? You're expecting something. What do you think we're going to do? He has crazy expressions. Like the older he gets, the more his face has facial expressions. And I ask him a question, he'll be like, what? Can I say hi? So there he is. He's getting big, huh?
Yeah.
He just turned a year old.
Wow.
There you go, buddy. Just lay down. Yeah, he's doing great. So, questions in the chat. 55% off coupon. Help my dog up. I'm running out of things to do.
We haven't done singing yet.
No, we haven't. We could broach the topic that we're going to cover in the office hours call. I want to see how you feel about talking about security in a LifterLMS website, how to avoid spam accounts, reduce spam emails. Is that something you think we could address?
Spam accounts, yeah. If you would notice that one of your free access plans is getting spammed, or if you have a course with an access plan on it, it's free, and a bot has found that link and a bunch of registrations are coming through, my recommendation to delete that access plan and create a new one. When you delete an access plan and make a new one, the URL will be different. A lot of times bots will crawl your website. They'll identify one URL that they can get into for free. They'll store it somewhere and then send it to a server where they can just spam it with entries. And so we would want to change the URL so that they would recrawl the website to find it. I do recommend security solutions. If your hosting company isn't keeping bots off of your website, consider discussing that with your company, or getting a security plugin like WordFence or iTheme Security, which I think is called something else now, like Simple Security or something like that. But a security plugin can be good for that. You can also have a code required. I made a video on YouTube a few ago about CAPTCHA, how to put like a fake CAPTCHA on your sign up form using vouchers. And so there's a little creative way that you could do that. The only way to put a real CAPTCHA on a LifterLMS form is with the Solid Security Pro thing currently. But you could do my little CAPTCHA workaround where you create a voucher code with 1,000 uses, and then you kind of put together a little image of like, you know, your voucher code with warped looking text, so it looks to the user like they're entering a CAPTCHA, but the robot won't be able to guess the voucher code. So that's a couple ways to stop spam. So
Yeah, I've only been hit a couple of times with any kind of real volume, and that's weird when that happens. At first you get excited, like, hey, something must have worked, and then you're like, no. these are fake, these aren't real people.
yes.
Yeah. And before people all jump in on the whole CAPTCHA thing, CAPTCHA can really slow a website down because it's like on every page, on everything. If you do the Google CAPTCHA, it can really start to hamper some performance issues. So it's not a great answer, right? It's like, yeah, it fixes one thing, but then now you've got something else to worry about.
Yeah.
So Kate asks a good question here, and this will probably be how we wrap up today. Kate says, do you do one-on-one demos to help decide if LifterLMS is the right option for our company? That is a mixed bag question where we generally say, no, we typically do not. And quite honestly, it just comes down to manpower. I mean, if we jumped on a Zoom call with everybody that wanted to have a Zoom call with us, we wouldn't be doing these. We'd be on Zoom with people. So we do have a phone call at LifterLMS. There's a number to call. So you can go to LifterLMS. You can get that number, lifterlms.com. There's a phone number to call. We do have team@lifterlms.com or help@lifterlms.com. You can send messages directly there. And then we've got resources on the page to reach out and send questions in. We do a lot of pre-sale email answering of questions. So we do that quite a bit. And then, there are people on the experts page like me and Emily. If you want to prepare a list of questions, or maybe come with a competitive product that maybe you want to do a comparison with, and you want to book some time with one of us, we could do that and go through it with you. But realistically, and this is just me speaking frankly, the LifterLMS resources, between the academy and the knowledge base in the LifterLMS website, it far exceeds any other product I've ever worked with off the web. I think WP Fusion has some really good content for their stuff. And there's some other companies that have some really good content for their product, but I haven't seen anything really surpass LifterLMS with a decade's worth of knowledge-based material, academy material, YouTube supporting videos, and then of course the 2 calls we do every week, which is the Ask Me Anything call that you're on now, and then we do an office hours call for people that have signed up for either the Universe or the Infinity bundle. We spend an hour each week with those folks on a shared Zoom call. Adam Silver says hi, so it's good to see Adam again. Last time I saw Adam, he was given a weather report from his front porch. And he's getting ready to run another big race. So he's getting ready to do that. And then Delphine says, thanks, guys. Awesome. Well, Emily, I think that's going to wrap us up today. What's a good way to reach you besides the experts page?
I would go to wpcourseguide.com. That's the best way to reach me. How about you, Kurt?
Mañana no más. Mañananomas.com or Mañana no más on X or Mañana no más on Facebook. Those are all the best ways to get me. And then on LinkedIn, I'm just Kurt Von Onen.
Cool.
So I think that wraps us up, folks. We will see you next week on the Ask Us Anything call. Have yourself a wonderful day.